Have you ever wondered about the best way to design a truly fair society, one that balances individual freedom with collective well-being? Today, we are going to explore how one prominent philosophical perspective challenges a very influential idea about justice. Libertarians generally critique Rawlsian justice by arguing that its principles, particularly the difference principle, infringe upon individual rights and economic liberty. They believe that John Rawls' theory prioritizes equality of outcomes over the fundamental right to acquire and hold property through voluntary exchanges, leading to an unjust redistribution of wealth and resources. The core of this critique stems from a fundamental disagreement on the concept of justice itself. Rawls, with his concept of the veil of ignorance and the difference principle, seeks to ensure that the least advantaged in society benefit from societal arrangements, even if it means some redistribution. Libertarians, however, champion a conception of justice centered on negative rights, emphasizing freedom from interference. They argue that as long as property is acquired justly and transferred through voluntary transactions, any resulting distribution, no matter how unequal, is inherently just. They see individual rights, especially property rights, as paramount, asserting that these should not be violated for the sake of achieving a particular pattern of wealth distribution. To understand these critiques, it is helpful to recognize that libertarians often focus on two main types of justice: justice in acquisition and justice in transfer. Justice in acquisition refers to how individuals initially come to own property, such as through mixing their labor with unowned resources. Justice in transfer then concerns how property is legitimately moved from one person to another, typically through voluntary exchange or gift. From this viewpoint, as long as these processes are just, any subsequent distribution is also just, and attempts to alter this distribution through taxation for redistribution are seen as coercive and unjust violations of individual entitlements. This perspective highlights a core philosophical tension known as the patterned versus historical principles of justice. Rawls' difference principle represents a pattern principle, aiming for a specific, desirable distribution of goods. In contrast, libertarianism largely adheres to historical principles, where the justice of a distribution depends entirely on how it came about, not on its final shape. This means that for libertarians, the legitimacy of holdings depends on whether they resulted from just acquisitions and transfers, irrespective of the resultant societal inequalities. Understanding this distinction is crucial for grasping the depth of their disagreement. Ultimately, the libertarian critique invites us to consider whether a society can truly be just if it compromises individual liberty for the sake of achieving greater equality. It pushes us to weigh the value of unhindered individual choice against the societal benefits of a safety net and equitable distribution of resources. Recognizing these different priorities helps clarify the ongoing debate about the ideal structure of a fair and free society.